podcast, where we tackle the hobby's hottest topics in depth to help you navigate the sports card landscape and enjoy the hobby we all love. Here's your host, John Newman.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Hobby Quick Hits. I'm going to do these shows from time to time, and they're going to be these ones where we talk about some undervalued players in the hobby, some great opportunities to purchase cards that I believe, for the 2 cents that's worth, of guys that are going to have, good years, a good career, and those cards are going to go up from the point they are at currently or now. And I know I've done this for other sports. Today is baseball term. And I know I've said on some of my other shows, or even on being on someone else's show, one of my kind of rules not to do is invest, I know that word, right? But buy pitchers, right? Pitchers can be a risky play, with injuries. They can blow their arm out, Tommy John surgery, lose velocity on their fastball, and go from dominating to middle of the road. And I break my own rule from time to time. I did it with Tristan McKenzie. I did it with Hunter Green. The jury's still out on both of them. I have a lot of their stuff, but they're both relatively young, so it's too late to say I swung and missed on those yet. I want to talk about some pitchers today about being undervalued in the card market. One of them might surprise you. He's a Cy Young winner, and yet I believe he's undervalued. And that's Jacob deGrom from my own, favorite team, the Mets. Guy's a dominating pitcher. I mean, look at the numbers, and I watch him. I watch almost every start. So this is coming from someone who sees his stuff, sees what he's doing. He's the real deal. I'm just hoping the Mets are going to pony up and keep him. I expect them to do that. And this, another reason I'm really sort of surprised he's as undervalued as he is, being that he plays in New York. His cards are starting to go up. His autograph stuff, actually, specifically, is starting to really rise up there. That opportunity for autograph stuff might be sort of kind of closing on you. But rookie cards and things like that from his rookie year are still, to me, obtainable and worth obtaining, but they're also rising too. So this one's probably got, you better hurry. I think this one has the hurry tag on it, because I don't know how long I can say Jacob deGrom is underrated in the hobby. It's the sand through the hourglass on that statement is nearing probably the end. But another guy I like, pitcher, again, even though I try to not do that with pitchers, is Walker Buehler from the Dodgers. I know they just signed Trevor Bauer to a big contract, and I'm going to say it. I think right now Walker Buehler's the best pitcher on that staff, and that's a staff that's loaded with Kershaw, Trevor Bauer. I think Walker Buehler has the best stuff. He has the best upside, being younger. He got some playoff experience. Last year, performed well, and again, another guy, just being a pitcher alone has kept his values down at a very affordable level. You can buy, Bowman Chrome rookies, rookie autos. Even, we always think about Bowman and Bowman Chrome as to get these autographed rookies, but look at other autographed insert or autograph cards. Finest has finest rookie autos. Even Bowman's best rookie autos. I like them. There's probably some of the there's some of the sharper looking ones, and again, and still at very affordable levels. And so Walker Buehler still at that affordable level. kind of overshadowed by two older veterans in Kershaw and Bauer. But I don't think that's going to be much longer. I think people are catching on, like me, that he is actually the best player, best pitcher on that staff right now. Let's talk about some non-pitchers, right? You're not going to hear the Mike Trouts and the Luis Roberts today. They're already at that high ceiling. In Mike Trout's case, deservedly so. In Luis Roberts' case, hype so. Hasn't kind of cashed a check by his play yet. I believe he will. I don't think he's going to be a bust, but what do I know? But we're not going to talk about that stuff. That's not what being undervalued is. So let's talk about some position players, if you will. Let's start with the guy that won MVP, yet you never know it by looking at what his cards go for. And that's Freddie Freeman from the Braves. Great lefty hitter, sweet swing, MVP winner, really starting to get in the groove. Had some earlier injuries early in his career where he wasn't putting full seasons together. I think he's past that point now, and I think more people are starting to catch on to Freddie Freeman. In Atlanta, they know about him. He's no secret, but I think the word's sort of getting out there across the baseball nation, the baseball card nation. But still a great opportunity to get some early cards, rookies, parallels of him, still at a decent price. His teammate, arguably one of the best infielders in the game. But again, he's overshadowed by, your Ronald Acuna's in that lineup, and Freddie Freeman, the veteran hitter. But that's Ozzie Albies, again, one of the best, shortstop, second baseman in the game, and still very undervalued. He's a guy. I don't know if I want to say I kind of singled him out and bought some, maybe a little bit, but I also seem, when I open stuff, to really always get him and pull him, like sort of a magnet for Albie stuff. And there's worse players I could be a magnet for. So his stuff is still very affordable, very cheap, and we always think of Atlanta as like a major city, and it is. But in baseball terms, it just seems like a lot of times, a lot of this comes a lot of undervalued superstars playing Atlanta. Acuna does not fit that description, though. Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, both do. Another guy just changed locations. He's a guy, I put some stuff away of his. Perennial Gold Glove winner, perennial all-star player, does it with his bat, does it with his glove, kind of sort of quietly, but building a really great resume, and that's Nolan Arenado now in St. Louis. And not a sexy name in terms of, he's a superstar player almost without being a superstar, just moved to St. Louis from being in Colorado and kind of went in, underachieving teams. And, a lot of people, I think a lot of people were not in on Arenado, folks, because they were afraid his numbers were because he played in Colorado. But one of the things I did early on is I said, hey, I didn't say that was wrong, but I just didn't believe it either. So I went and looked up the stats, home and away, right? And he was putting up very similar numbers on the road as he was in Coors Field. And so what it told me is this guy's just good. He just happens to play in Coors Field and be a great hitter. And so I wasn't buying if he's ever not on the Rockies, he's going to become an average player instead of a great player. He's getting the Coors Field bump, as they call it. I didn't buy it, never bought into it. And even when I started to wonder, I checked for myself and ended the debate in my own mind that, no, this guy can just rake. It doesn't matter what stadium he's in. And I know it's early in St. Louis, but looks like he is that guy that I pegged him for. So his stuff is still undervalued. You can buy, graded tops tradeds of his, depending on condition, for under $100. You can even get the gem mint once for under $200. Some of his autograph stuff still very affordable in relativity to what some other guys' stuff is going for. So I think the ROI on Arenado is still there. Again, it'll be interesting to see how will that change now that he's in a huge baseball town, baseball city in St. Louis. I think it will, but I still think you have ample time to get in on some Arenado stuff and be glad that you did. Another guy playing, two guys. Let's talk about two guys from the Oakland A's, if you will. Matt Chapman, third baseman, just putting together, we just talked about a third baseman in Nolan Arenado. Matt Chapman is putting together that type of career there in Oakland like an Arenado. And again, very under the radar, very, very undervalued. Again, doing it quietly. I think Oakland is sort of, not looked at. They, West Coast team plays their games at 10:30 at night when the East Coast is sleeping or getting ready to go to sleep. And people, speaking of going to sleep, I think people are sleeping on Matt Chapman that don't really follow baseball to the T. And so I think Matt Chapman's a very undervalued player. I think he's starting to get more notice, get more recognition, so that may eventually change. But at this point, he's still a guy you can get in on and get some stuff. His teammate, Ramon Laureano, this one I'll say proceed with a little more caution. He's still young, and there's people who just don't believe that he is what he's doing. They think he's caught lightning in a bottle. But this guy is a 5'2" player, 20-20 guy. As someone who plays fantasy leagues like I do, he's a guy I make a point to target and acquire. Because, in auction league, we talk about being undervalued in the hobby market. He's undervalued in fantasy auction leagues where I always seem to get him at a great price, and he pays dividends. Starting to hit for more average, starting to, he's always been a guy with some pop, and he's always been a fast guy, and he's always been a great Gold Glove type outfielder. So, I think he's going to be one of those guys, barring injury or barring him falling off the table, when you look at his career, when it's all said and done later on, years from now, he's going to really surprise you. You're going to be like, wow, I didn't realize he's that good. I think he's doing that now where people are like, I didn't realize he's had those 2 or 3 type years already, even at that early stage of his career. So he's a guy, I think, definitely very cheap for what the numbers he's putting up. I've talked to people in the hobby that I've kind of, will share insight with, and the vibe I get from them on him is like, yes, he's doing that, but they don't see it long term, and so they're not all in like I'm thinking you should be. And again, I may not be right. It's all speculation, right? A couple more guys, and we'll wrap it up. He just went down with an injury for the White Sox. That team is so loaded with young talent. We probably could name a couple guys from them on this list, and I know he went down, and he's probably going to miss most of the year, if not all the year. And that's Eloy Jimenez. He's going to be a guy, I believe, in my opinion. He's going to be a guy who's going to win MVPs. He's playing on a team with a overhyped, I don't want to say overhyped, a hype up young superstar in Luis Robert, another young great hitter in Yohan Moncada, an MVP guy in Jose Abreu, and I don't think, a great young hitter, Nick Madrigal, But I think people kind of sleep on Eloy, and it's a shame he got injured this year. I think he was a candidate to win MVP on a White Sox team that I think is going to win that division and make some noise in the postseason. Whether he misses this year, the whole year, or most of it, he should return. I wouldn't jump off the ship because of one injury. You just hope that's really what it is, and that this isn't sort of an every other year thing where he's missing time, and that's what you got to be careful. But I'm a believer in Eloy, and so he's still a buy to me when I go out there and start doing searches for things to buy. He's one of those guys I still look for because I think he's still undervalued. When you look at what some of his stuff goes for, even in comparison to his teammate Luis Robert, and who hasn't done it really officially yet, and he sort of gets outshined by him hobby wise, and so I think it's a great opportunity to get some Eloys at a great price and just wait it out and see if what I think he's going to be long term, if that's what actually occurs. Let's name one more guy for this episode that I like in this vein, and I'm going to be a homer here. He plays for the Mets, and not a sexy player, but just has some pop. He's going to bat like over 300 every year. Potentially hit 20 home runs, drive in some runs, and it's Jeff McNeil, and plays hard, does it the right way. Has hit at every level. He's not going to be, a superstar in that, right? And again, maybe this is a little bit of me being a homer, but he's a guy that's just a consistent hitter, can, hit opposite field and pull the ball, and just, if I'm a coach teaching someone how to be a pure hitter, he's really right there at the top of my list of current ball players of who to use as an example. He'd probably be more known if he hit, more home runs. Chicks and hobbyists dig the long ball, but he's a guy that the thing that scares me is maybe some injuries here, kind of the way he plays. But if he has a long career, which I think he's capable of, you're going to look back at the numbers he kind of will compile and say, maybe a Hall of Famer. Might put together that sort of Hall of Famer type career kind of quietly. Again, I don't know if there's a huge upside. This is just me maybe being a Mets fan, watching them day in and day out and really liking what I see. But it's my show. I get to have, I guess, a homer pick every once in a while. So I'll say Jeff McNeil, and I won't apologize for it. But, some of the names you mentioned, just a great opportunity. Even the pitchers, which I try to, sort of shy away from or stay away from. There's pitchers that made this list. When I was writing these names down, I just couldn't leave them off. And so let me know if you agree, disagree, which ones you agree with. Do you have any you feel like I left off that you wanted me to add? I can do the show, another show with even your picks, and especially if I agree with them. So with that being said, we're gonna put a bow tie on this and call it a day. So thank you.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.